Happy Friday, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Forbes Flash. We've got some good stuff to talk about this week. Diddy just got knocked out of the top spot on our hip-hop Cash Kings list by none other than Jay-Z. Both will be just fine, though, along with everyone else on our list of the world's highest-paid hip-hop artists, where the average earnings in a year come in at $44 million. Jay-Z earned his crown with a staggering $76.5 million earnings in the past year, thanks in part to his on-the-run tour with wife Beyonce. Diddy, who had been in the top spot for 3 years in a row, only made $64 million this year. His beverage empire is largely responsible for helping him pay the bills. And if you're surprised that the highest-paid hip-hop artists make so much, don't be. The genre is now the most listened to in the US. Also surprising, I guess depending on who you ask, no women made the list this year. The names you might have expected to see, Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, seem to be on track to earn enough for next year's list. Unless you were under a rock this week, you know that Apple's always hyped September event took place. Tim Cook tricked us all with a fake Twitter fail, the iPhone keeps getting bigger and more expensive, and the Apple Watch is here to keep us healthy. Yeah, that's what I said. The Apple Watch Series 4 is FDA and Heart Association approved, so hypochondriacs rejoice. Last but not least, the behemoth Apple is loving on Mother Earth. They're now using only renewable energy and also have 3 new long-term environmental goals. Makes paying over $1,000 for a new phone feel good, right? Here's a few stories you might have missed from this past week. CBS's longtime head Les Moonves may be out of a job, but his net worth isn't suffering. The disgraced executive leaves the company with an $800 million fortune. His resignation came amid an ongoing investigation by CBS into at least 12 accusations of sexual harassment and assault, dating back to the 1980s. He joined CBS in 1995 and became CEO in 2003, since then comfortably earning millions as one of America's best-paid CEOs. Thanks to the circumstances under which he's leaving the company, he'll say goodbye without his exit package of up to $280 million that he was reportedly eligible for. Moonves and CBS plan to donate $20 million to organizations that support equality for women in the workplace, pulled from what would have been his severance benefits. It might be too early to say, speaking of disgraced, so now for a message from the FDA. Tread carefully, E-Cig makers. The Food and Drug Administration had originally taken a hands-off approach to brands like Juul, Mark 10, and Blue, allowing them to stay on the market without getting approval until 2022. Well, that's all out the window now. FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb says he's been warning the companies to stop marketing to youth for years, is now giving them just 60 days to propose substantial steps to prevent kids from using their products. If not, the FDA will reevaluate whether they want to wait until 2022 to enact the approval process. This could be a death sentence for the entire e-cigarette industry, because it seems hard to believe that they'll be able to provide proof that new tobacco products improve public health, a law set in 2009. And let's lighten the mood with some luxury travel advice. Looking for somewhere to stay on your next trip to LA? How about a suite with a formal dining room, full kitchen, living room with a grand piano, and a private full-size swimming pool? All of this and more could be yours by renting the presidential suite at the legendary Hotel Bel-Air. And if the nightly charge of $18,000 seems unrealistic to you, probably does, then here's the deal. The suite is being listed at $300,000 a month by the stars of Bravo show $1 Million Listing Los Angeles. What a steal. Booking ASAP. The internet still hasn't moved on from the US Open match that ignited a fire. You know, Naomi Osaka versus Serena Williams versus chair umpire Carlos Ramos. In the days that followed, feedback about the situation, how it was handled, and even the feedback itself kept the Twitter cycle alive and well. And then an Australian tabloid published a racist cartoon to add fuel to the fire. But as the conversations died down slightly, one thing to take note of. Much of the frustration, and rightfully so, comes from women who are speaking up on the sexist nature of the situation. But many of the defending voices are also those of women, and silence from Serena's male peers. So this heartbreaking match will live on in history as an example of failure on many levels, including accountability of male allies. If you disagree and want to hear why, tweet your feedback to me here. We held our first ever Under 30 Summit in Europe last week. If you missed it, check out #Under30Summit to catch up. One of the speakers, Sebastian Siemiatowski, shared some news for his payments processor, Klarna. They're going global. They'll be launching a hybrid payments credit card to be used around the world, a move that transforms Klarna into a full-on digital bank. It's a bold move because, for one, it puts them in direct competition with traditional banks and other digital challengers. But Siemiatowski is convinced that the future of banking is global, and since he's a guy who went from flipping burgers to a $2.5 billion fintech empire, I'm going to take his word for it. This week, we announced the 2018 Cloud 100, the top private companies in cloud computing. Bear with me, it affects you more than you think. Basically, cloud computing powers the world today. How we collaborate, how we share work, protect our data, and choose to share it with the world. All of that is made possible with the cloud. Maybe you've heard of online payments company Stripe. Well, it's a top company on the list for the second year in a row. Founded by two Irish-born brothers, it's valued at $9.2 billion. Check out all the coverage on social at #Cloud100. And now I'm going to let you take a break from me and hang out with our crypto guy, Michael Del Castillo.
So earlier this week, two of the earliest cryptocurrency startups received a license from the New York Department of Financial Services to issue these new crypto assets called stablecoins. Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss, the founders of Gemini Exchange, and Chad Cascarella of the Paxos Exchange, were given permission to create their own cryptocurrency on the Ethereum blockchain. But unlike a traditional cryptocurrency that's just backed by the mathematics and the electricity that it takes to support the cryptocurrency, these cryptocurrencies are going to be backed by US dollars. This is a big deal in the blockchain space because it stands to potentially create a bridge between the cryptocurrency world and its speed and transparency and borderlessness and the fiat currency world, at least in the US dollar, which is relatively stable. What's really happened over the last couple of years is as the price of cryptocurrency has fluctuated, investors have found a way to make money on the way up and on the way down. And as a result, a lot of investors are holding on to it. In order to make cryptocurrency a little more appealing to actually spend, these stable coins have become increasingly popular. Other than just backing them by US dollars, though, there's more technologically sophisticated ways that are being explored. One company called Basis recently raised $133 million from traditional venture capital firms, including Andreessen Horowitz, to essentially automate the central bank on a blockchain and control the price of the cryptocurrency by buying it and creating it automatically. Another way that you could possibly do this is even more experimental, being explored by German software firm SAP, where they're essentially creating futures-backed cryptocurrencies that are tied to securities in factories, where the owners of these currencies would actually have small stakes of the factories and could redeem the cryptocurrencies in exchange for real-world assets that way. In the end, though, these are all kind of workarounds, or like I said earlier, bridges between the original cryptocurrency vision of creating a unit of measure to buy actual products without the need of a central bank or even a bank. And in the end, there's purists out there that would still like to see any of these stablecoins as just gateways to familiarize users with this new technology, where in the end, they could be removed and you would spend Bitcoin or Ethereum or XRP or any other cryptocurrency just like you would spend a US dollar, except instantly, borderless, and without a bank.
Thanks as always for joining us. Share your feedback using #Forbes Flash, and we'll see you next week. You can tune in every Friday morning. I'll be here, same time, same place.